course I would have, like, thrown a fit or, like, been a monster.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, like, it's very hard.
I hate watching, like a show like that. Okay, like the new Love show on Netflix. With,
I binged it and I hated every second.
I liked it.
Oh, it made me so mad, but I was like...
I only watched half of it, and I don't love it. I like it. I don't love it.
See, it's like, he
get
looks
it.
like me, but then she kind of is who I am at my worst sometimes. And it's funny.
Yeah, I
watch...
hate her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then,
Wait,
like,
you hate
about
Gillian
halfway through the season...
No, I hate the character.
The character, okay.
I think
anything
about
about
the
the
halfway point was when I was like, oh, I hate both of them. They're
Yeah.
both awful.
I haven't
I think
gotten to
that
the
was the
fifth
point,
episode
though.
yet.
Yeah.
I don't hate him
I think
yet,
that's
I guess.
when you start to hate him.
Great.
Like, he does something where I'm like, oh, cool, she's not just a manic pixie dream girl. They're both awful people.
Yeah. Things start working out for him, and all of a sudden he just
He's
takes
a
all
monster.
these. Yeah, he makes all these really shitty decisions.
But Judd Apatow loves a fractured human being.
Yeah.
Like
So it's just
if
two of
his
them.
characters
Hey,
are
we're
out
talking about
there,
art now.
they're
Oh,
just
we got
like...
Time.
It's still recording on
Oh, I know,
here.
I know. It's like, now
I was
we're
like, no,
talking
we
about art
legitimately
and-
have
It was
this
all,
thing.
That was basically all.
I
about
like the
sex
sex
in it.
tangent, though.
Hey,
Like,
no,
some of
no.
it was real gold.
I agree.
Front butt,
I have no issue. Like,
going home with that.
barring what Caitlin's new beau may have an issue with us putting on there, I'm fine with all of that.
Yeah, and I'm sure if I ask him, he probably...
Yeah.
We can edit that.
You don't have to edit any dumb thing I said. But...
No, I mean, it's totally
I didn't
fine.
say his name.
One thing I was going to say is there's a show that I can't watch because I identified too heavily with it, and it's going to make you laugh what show it is, because it's 30 Rock.
I get that.
Yeah.
Because when 30 Rock came out and was a show, like I didn't watch it when it was on TV. I was like, Netflix kind of thing. And when it came on Netflix, it was just when I started running the theater.
Oh, yeah.
And so everything about that show was just my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And the crazy thing is like watching that show makes me realize, like, no, just write what you're doing. Like, don't stop trying to write stories of people. Start writing down what you're doing. Because I realized that as time passes, you change and you do different jobs and you have different things that you do. Like, I wish that I had kept a journal more heavily of the time that I spent in New York City, because it was super formative and it was like such a big deal. And like so much crazy art happened in my life, and crazy sex happened in my life, and crazy firsts, like thousands of things. Like the first time I had sex was in New York City. I was a super late bloomer, and I didn't have sex until I was already like an adult out there in the world. I lived in New York City, and I was like, you know what? I haven't had sex yet. Let's get this done. And I got it done, crossed it off my list, and then was like, let's do that again. But like, all the crazy wild things you forget. All the little, like I have snippets in my mind of like, oh, remember that one event? Oh, remember that one party? Oh, that one guy? Like, I think someday I'm not going to be here, and someday I'm not going to be doing this, and I'm going to be like, oh, remember that time? Remember when that's what I was doing? And it's like, oh, I got to write that down. I got to keep track in some way, even if it's to write whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? I heard the WTF episode with the guy who wrote Walking Dead, and he said that when he wrote the comic books, he wrote
Kirkman?
Yes, Robert Kirkman.
Sorry,
He wrote it in the point of view of him being like a struggling 20-something, where like he's trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life. He's like a graphic designer trying to trying to do cartoons and like trying to find a way to like write stories and create something. And, he keeps throwing things against the wall and nothing's happening. And then he channeled all of this angst that he had at the time into this thing that became something bigger. But by the time it became something bigger, he was older and he was in a different place. And then if you watch Fear the Walking Dead, the vibe of that is from the point of view of an older person who's like dealing with responsibility in a very different way. Whereas Walking Dead has to do with sort of like the like just figuring it out and like using the tools that you find around you, which is very 20-something figuring out life. When you get older and then you have other people to handle and figure out and take care of, there's the nature of like Fear the Walking Dead, which you haven't watched, do watch. It's very good. But it's like the vibe of it is more like, I wonder how the communities will develop, or I wonder how people are going to react to this thing. So his point of view is different. And I'm like, oh, that's that's so interesting. Like,
Yeah.
that I need to figure out what that means for me, because
Yeah.
I clearly had a 20-something artist vibe, and now I'm in my 30s and I'm different because I've tried to say or do things that I did in my 20s, and that just doesn't work anymore. I can't say or do any of the things that I did because I'm different, because people look at me different, because I am different.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I always, like, think of kind of the same way of, like, flashes of memories and feeling like, in my mind now, they look more, like, fleshed out, like, scenes, like, from movies or from TV shows. And I'm always like, oh, I should write that. But it also, like, it's so funny because in my head, I'm like, no, that's, like, really selfish and self-serving, and, like, no one wants to see a movie that's, like, your life. Like, that's bullshit. But, like, that's what people write.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what
But
gets
they
made.
do.
And, like,
it's
it
not
happens.
just, like-
So it's like, well, just write it. Like, fucking just write it. Like, what's the worst that happens is that you write it and then it doesn't get made.
Yeah, it's like self-serving if you
Like,
write it.
that's
And it's
fine.
like your name and you perform it.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to perform it.
Well, I know,
But is it?
I would too. Like if I
No,
were
but
writing
but
thing-
Lena Dunham in
Yeah.
Girls, she
Yeah.
is writing and
Yeah.
performing that thing. Do we hate her for it? No, we don't hate her
I'm
for
like,
it.
no, good for you.
And her story is touching you.
Yeah.
You just said it's hard for you to watch it because you're so
Yeah.
connected to that character.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. That's exactly why you should
Yeah.
write what your story
It's actually,
is. Any of the things that you've thought or said, 100 million people in the world
yeah, or like,
feel the
me
same
too.
way,
Like, this
and
is
would
too hard
love
to
someone to say, "Hey,
Yeah.
did someone tell you sex was weird when you were a kid?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Yeah.
did. Oh, P.S. It's not.
Yeah.
So
it's,
not.
It's funny because,
Not
like,
weird.
I just tweeted about that the other day because I was, like, looking at a script and I was like, oh, I want to be in a movie. And, like, within, like, the first 2 pages, it was like, this character is giving someone a blowjob and this other character is described as, like, real thin and sexy. And I was just like, I don't fucking, like, 1, I don't fit any of these descriptions. 2, like, I don't want to do that. Like, so do I just, like, put up with it and, like, to get my foot in the door, or, like, do I just wait? And so I tweeted about it and was like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't know. I feel weird about it. And one of my friends from high school, who, like, usually I'm like, shut up, Carter. I'm like, you don't know. He was like, well, that's why you have to, like, start writing and producing your own things. Like, that's what Lena Dunham did. And I was like, but that's so much work. And he's like, yeah, but, like, in the long run, that's what
Still
you need to
kinda wanted
do.
to say that though, like, shut up, Carter.
Yeah, but I still was like, shut up! But I'm like, yeah, you're right this time. Go.
That's one of the reasons why I'm happy that I live in Austin versus
Yeah.
the people who have gone to New York or LA or Chicago or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I'm in a place where I can write whatever I want and perform whatever I want and
Mhm.
put it on stage. And the immediacy of that, the fact that, like, I can do it, the fact that you have a show that you can write
Yeah.
about whatever you want it to be about, and you've booked it and you know
Yeah.
it's happening, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And, like, talking to Jeff about, like, when he went to LA and how, like, you know, and I understand going to a place and going to the bottom again. I do. I get it. And I'm totally fine. If I ever moved somewhere, I accept being at the bottom.
Yeah.
I accept level 1. I accept whatever it is that they want to give me. But I don't like the idea that, like, it's so saturated an environment that no one's ever going to get to write what they want to write. And that,
Yeah.
especially in LA, it's so entrenched in the network and this, like, weird vibe of what is cool that so many great ideas get written and thrown away.
Mhm.
To the point where, like, there's that website / production company at this point, the
Mhm.
Blacklist, that, like, puts up and produces and does readings and,
Yeah.
and stuff of movies that people rejected
Yeah.
outright. And it's like, you know, at this point in the world, what with the internet and what with Austin having people like Robert Rodriguez and so many other people
Mhm.
making Austin a viable film place, like, why not just make
Yeah.
your own thing?
Well,
I just
like,
waited on him, by the way.
oh.
He's huge.
Yeah.
He's
Is he?
gigantic. He's super tall. And his
And
wife
you
is
say
like-
that.
Yeah, no, and like when I say
You're a
that, I mean
tall
he's
guy.
also a really broad dude too.
Hmm.
He's just a masculine, like, big guy. And his wife is like this tall. He has this tiny, like, little child bride wife.
Child Bride, that's the
Hello,
name of the improv
Child
troupe
Bride.
I want to start.
Yeah,
Oh.
she's really tall, weird, and, like, pale, and yeah, he's.
I'm gonna do it.
But he eats like a 40-ounce steak to himself, and tips 35%. So
That's pretty good.
But he's also doing a lot to make Austin a viable place to make film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Where like when you say I made my movie in Austin, it doesn't seem like, oh, did you make it in Albuquerque? Sorry, Albuquerque. But like, you know,
a lot of people were just like, no, thank you.
if they listen to an hour and a half in and then they get mad about Albuquerque.
Hey!
Well.
Someone on a plane was just like, no, sir. You believe it? They're flying into Albuquerque. Listen, everybody!
Did you know they're insulting the art?
vacation here.
The other podcast said Albuquerque was cool.
That's like the other cool thing about Austin is that like I know like I've invested in the community and I feel like I hate like this term, but like I feel like I've paid my dues.
Yeah.
And like I'm a part of the new movement community.
Yeah.
And so like if I turn around tomorrow and post in our Facebook group and say like, hey guys, I have a script. I want to film a short film. Who is interested? PM me. Like send me a message, let's get started. Like I'm holding auditions. Like people would be on board.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I have access to so many different communities that I can be like Cold Town, who wants to audition? Like Austin improv community.
Yeah.
Like let's make a fucking movie.
Not
like
only
people
like
would do
be,
it.
but would be dying to
Yeah.
help you out. Like,
And so
that's-
it's like
yeah.
it feels really cool because I don't feel like big-headed and like I'm a celebrity, I deserve this. Like gimme. But I'm like, no, I'm a person that people know.
Yeah.
At least enough to be like, oh, Caitlin is a nice person. She's not gonna make a shitty film. Like, she might, but like, she's not gonna purposefully be like, this one's about, like, butt heads. Like, she's making a dumb fart joke. Like, I love fart jokes, but I'm making a lot of bad examples, but,
I was like, I really
Every
look forward to
Saturday night.
Butthead the movie by Caitlin McNally, which
gonna say, like-
opens with a fart joke.
The fart jokes.
I thought you were gonna
Never
say
end.
front butt.
oh, that's such a good name.
It
I
is.
literally would just start with a butt joke.
Oh my
no,
god.
like,
I can we write front butt? Like
Yes.
seriously, like no joke.
Can
I'll send you the
can the
rough
big-
draft by this summer. Summer 2016, it's coming.
Having like the
Coming to
shitty male
you.
antagonist in this.
Yeah.
Oh my god, front butt. See, like front butt would have to be
that's
the
such a
story
good
of
title.
people that like it would have to be about what we talked about like tonight about like weird sexual hang-ups like
Yeah.
in your 20s because somebody told you something weird
Yeah.
like and you're like my uncle told me that it didn't work that way. You guys fucking tell me it works that way. It's like yeah, he was lying to you. What was he in a church of some kind?
I always
Yes!
like, it's so funny because like, going back to the sex thing. I got
Sorry.
sex on my mind.
Well,
No,
you
I
know
get it.
Laura will
I
do
know,
that
every
to her,
time.
lady.
Oh, that's like my drink. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not having a sexual awakening. I'm just drinking a lot more wine.
I also brought up front butt. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. But, like, it's funny because, like, I wonder sometimes, like, what's the trigger? Like, what was it that I was like, oh, no, sex is weird, sex is bad? Because I grew up in a very, like, accepting family. And, like, other than the, like, Caitlin, stop humping the couch, which was probably just like, oh, that's why the couch is all fucked up. Like, stop humping the couch!
Or evenly distribute your humps across the couch.
Yeah, because literally-
one side's just
We
buried
had,
and
like,
tore up.
velour, like, velvet kind of
okay.
couch, so there was, like, one arm that was, like, rubbed the
Real
wrong
worn out.
way. And, like, my sister walked in on me, just, like, going to town on it, and she was like, Katie, stop! I'm like, what? That was probably it.
That's what front butt should open with.
Because I was like, I was like a raccoon in a trash can, just like, what?
I feel like you may have just found the moment.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's what
That's
happened.
a great oopening scene.
You got in trouble.
Well, that's also what just skewed your perspective of
Just
sex,
blonde
too.
ringlet
Somebody
curls
yelled
going
at
to
you.
town on the couch.
And she goes, Katie, no. And then all of a sudden you're like, no.
And then it's
No,
opening titles,
you're
front
looking
butt, and just like sleigh bells, like full blast. Oh, that's such a good movie.
And then,
I'm ready.
I'm
and
already
then
seeing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
it's 10 years later. She's living, she's working at a record store or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, of
She's
course
trying
she
to
works at a
date
record
people.
store.
There's a velour couch
Oh.
there that you can see it's slightly worn.
Whoa! She's humping the couch after
Oh,
hours.
Let's lay the weird image layers into it.
I actually, I have a velour couch in my house right now.
Yeah, you do.
How's it
I have
holding
not-
up?
I have not humped it.
Good.
I have
You
a
haven't had
vibrator for
to.
that now. I bought my first vibrator within the last year. I'm really in like a cool period. I feel like a cool girl
Me
now.
too,
Did you-
I'm
actually.
like,
I just bought my
Did you
first
go to the
period.
store
Really?
and get?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,